It has been all but confirmed that classic F1 tracks will be in F1 22, with many Codemasters and EA workers hinting at the return of additional tracks being added into the game. So today we are going through my top 5 tracks that I think have to be on F1 22. Now we don't know how these tracks will be added yet, but will most likely be paid or free DLC spread throughout the game's life cycle, similar to how they introduced Imola, Portimao and Saudi last year. These additions over 3 months injected new life into F1 2021 months after its release date, so it's a no-brainer that Codemasters and EA will do something like this. Unfortunately, these DLC tracks will not be usable in career modes due to licensing, but would be a great addition to the online scene. Now, on to the first track. Coming in at number 5 is Hockenheim, more specifically New Hockenheim. Although if you could have historic and modern variations of tracks, that would be incredible. If you've been watching me for a while, then you know that I love Hockenheim. So if this track is not introduced, I'm going to be extremely disappointed. Its 3 long straights always allowed for plenty of overtaking opportunities, whilst the corners were fun and challenging to tackle, especially the on-camber hairpin in the stadium section. Last seen in an F1 game in 2019, the German circuit wouldn't need too much of an update to bring it up to speed for F1 22. And remember, each like is a prayer for Hockenheim to return, so please hit that like button to bring back this iconic circuit. This isn't the first time the F1 game has brought classic tracks to the franchise, making their debut back in the 2013 installment with Imola, Estoril and Jerez being included, but I've gone with Brands Hatch to be the circuit out of those 4 to be brought back for the new era. Whilst most tracks on this list are modern classics, it would be great to see a more old school circuit make its return, and Brands would fit that perfectly. An incredibly high-speed roller coaster ride that leaves very little room for error. This track would be so much fun to throw around in a modern Formula 1 car. Overtaking here could be quite difficult as it lacks large braking zones or long straights and mainly consists of narrow, fast-flowing corners, but in F1 22 open lobbies, anything is possible. Coming up in 3rd place, we have the fan favourite Sepang International Circuit. Now, come on, who doesn't want this track back on the F1 calendar, let alone on the game? Sepang was always a lot of fun, both in reality and virtually. With its long straights, wide layout and corners that promoted overtaking, the track was a Herman Tilke masterclass. Oh, and let's not forget the unpredictable Malaysian weather. It's no wonder fans call for this track to return year after year. Last on the F1 game in 2017, it would need a bit more work than Hockenheim to bring it up to scratch, but it's not impossible, and the hype around this track dropping would be through the roof. So yeah, Malaysia is coming to F1 22. Right, now bear with me on this next one, as I have the Shanghai International Circuit in China as number 2 on this list. China is one of those mediocre tracks. It's not a bad track by any means and can be a lot of fun on the game, but when I think about the Chinese Grand Prix, there isn't one or a handful of races that stand out to me like with the other circuits on this list. So why have I rated it so highly and think that it will be on F1 22? Well, for one main reason. It was on the game last year, but will not feature on the 2022 Formula 1 calendar. It takes a lot of work to build new tracks in a Formula 1 game, so to have a circuit that only just got remodeled in F1 2021 in the bank as a DLC, it's going to be a very easy win for Codemasters and EA. And hey, it's an enjoyable track to drive in-game. Will it get the same hype as the other tracks on this list? No, but it's an extra bit of content that's ready to go. Before we get into my number 1 pick that I guarantee will be on F1 22, 93% of you watching right now are not currently subscribed, so make sure you hit that subscribe button for more F1 22 content now. On to my number 1. When I heard the possibility of DLC and classic tracks coming to F1 22, I was filled with excitement because this track popped into my head straight away. It's the one that we all want to see. Hanoi, nope, just kidding. I hope we never see that track ever again. No, instead, it's the Istanbul Park of Turkey. Yes, that's right, Turkey will be on F1 22. One of the best circuits not to be on the current F1 calendar, Turkey has so much variation throughout its layout. Long straights for overtakes, tight corners for multiple side-by-side action, and who can forget that incredible never-ending corner of Turn 8. It's also provided some classic on-track battles, with the 2020 race being absolute carnage. But how can I be so sure that it'll be in the new game, you ask? Well, it was on the calendar the past 2 years, but it was always announced just a little too late for Codemasters to add it back to the franchise. It last featured in 2011, so would have to be completely made from scratch. And with Russia being rumoured to be replaced by the Turkish Grand Prix, the game would have had to be ready if this was the case. Plus, if you're going to bring back classic tracks and you don't bring back Turkey, then that is just a crime. I, for one, cannot wait to throw a modern car around this track when it returns to F1 22. That's my 5 tracks that I think will be on F1 22. Do you agree with my list, or did I miss out your favourite circuit? Let me know in the comment section below, and make sure you check out my other F1 22 videos on screen right now. Until next time, goodbye from me.